Today we have the honor of speaking with Dr. Klaus Hausegger, a distinguished figure in the field of interventional radiology and a chief editor of Cardiovascular and Interventional Radiology, one of the most prestigious journals in our specialty. Dr. Hausegger has made significant contributions to the advancement of IR, both as a researcher and as an academic leader. His work has shaped the way we approach minimally invasive procedures, and his role at CVIR has been instrumental in promoting high-quality research that drives innovation in our field. In this interview, we can explore, maybe we can explore both your personal and your professional life, which our viewers will be hoping to watch. Yeah.
Just like, how was your childhood? Why did you take intervention? What motivated you? I mean,
yeah. So that's of course I understand this question. Actually, I'm coming from a radiological family.
Oh.
So my father, unfortunately, he already died. Used to be a radiologist. My brother is a radiologist. So and I became a radiologist. However, this was not my first choice for the medical profession. My first choice long time ago was surgery. So I applied for surgery and radiology in parallel. And well, I got the first position in radiology, so as a resident. So I took radiology, and to be honest, during the first 2 years I was not that super happy in this field. This has to do also with our, at these times, with our teaching system, and so this was more or less self-teaching, and so it was not well structured. And then I came to the IR division. This was at the University Hospital in Graz in Austria, and at that time, I don't know whether you have heard his name, Professor Lamba was there. Professor Lamba is one of the European leaders in IR. He used to be in Graz, and he was my big teacher and big mentor. So Johannes told me many things, and I think the basic thing what he told me was the attitude to our profession. And then Professor Lammer left because he was announced as a chair in the University Hospital in Vienna, and all of a sudden there was much space for me. So you know, it's the big mentor is gone. Now you have to run the job, and this was my chance, and I took this chance. I was happy to develop IR in the University Hospital of Graz further, became a deputy chair there, and then it was in 2002 I was announced as the chair of whole radiology, not only IR, but covering all the complete radiology department in the Federal Hospital of Klagenfurt, which is it's not a university hospital, but it's one of the bigger hospitals in Austria, and we could establish a very active IR service there. And at that time, one thing was, when I went to Klagenfurt, there was no neuro intervention there. And the request from the hospital, and specifically, and this is interesting maybe, from the neurosurgeon, was that I would establish a interventional service there. And also due to the support of neurosurgery, we were quite successful. And now we are happy to have one of the most active neurovascular sections in Austria, which is somehow unusual. Quite often peripheral interventions and neuro interventions are separate, so we do everything together. And so this was a good development. And, well, this was a long journey, and now by the end of the last year I retired from my position as the chairman there, and currently now I'm working in private hospital, and I'm very much involved in CVIR in the journal, which is actually more or less keeping me very busy, which is a full-time job, but it's very interesting. So this is a short.
That's a beautiful journey.
That's a beautiful journey.
And somewhere similar to you, even I was like hardcore surgeon. I wanted to be a surgeon. Yeah. But then a neuro intervention made me take radiology and do intervention. But somewhere even I can relate to what you have gone through and how you would have enjoyed doing intervention. Two questions in between. Like one thing is, how was it to do both body and neuro intervention together, and how is it? Is it an advantage, and what are the advantages that you feel?
I mean, this is a challenge. To cover both fields is a challenge, and it's becoming more and more challenging. Why? Because we have such an enormous dynamic development, and all the techniques, new techniques which come up. It is not so easy to cover everything for aortic stent graft and for a complex intracranial aneurysm using all these flow diverters and so on in one section. And I'm not sure whether this will be the future way, because I think we also in IR there is place for subspecialization, and we already experienced that in a larger perspective, talking about IO, interventional oncology, which is more or less becoming an own part of IR, and then the other part of IR, and then we have neuro IR. So this is the problem. However, the other thing is, this is now a structural problem. Just talking about the hospital where I had the pleasure to work, this is a 1,200 bed hospital, so it's a big hospital. So, and of course, when we talk about, we have about, I would say, 300 neuro procedures per year, meaning stroke, aneurysms, and not so many AVMs, but some. So, and this could easily be the volume for a known neuro department and your neuroradiological department. You take also the diagnostics there, and this will. I think it's not a huge department, but it will keep the department living. However, we have to cover all emergencies in 24/7. So if you get a GI bleeder in the night, then who will treat this patient? So those who are only, let's say, only peripheral IRs, maybe they will not be so interested. Maybe the stent graft business would go somewhere to vascular surgeon, which is quite common in Europe. And then all of us, and you would ask a neuro guy, well, can you embolize that? This is not my business. So I mean, to keep the emergency, keeping the service for emergency cases, and so I think in that sense you need this broad spectrum, and it can easily be in the department that you embolize an ruptured aneurysm at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and have a GI bleeder at 10 o'clock in the evening. And you need the skills, and so therefore this has been a discussion in my hospital. Should there be separate departments? I have been already also thinking about that. But keeping up the emergency cases and the 24/7 service makes it more difficult. And maybe this department where I've been working is a good example. There are some they're too big to be separated, but they are too small to have the separate.
I agree with this that. See, you need to have both experts in the team.
Yeah.
But if you work together, we can always cover each other whenever it's an emergency. But when an elective procedure is happening, the person who is expert will lead the team. The person will be assisting. Maybe I think this sounds a better plan than having two separate and like how you said. And also, for example, I'm doing transradial approach due to an embolization. What if a small thrombus goes up? Suddenly, I don't want to wait for a neuro IR to come and then treat it, because it has to be immediately addressed, right? So I always felt that it should be to combine doing all the emergencies. Both the teams should be doing. This is what I was always thinking.
So in a way, we are building a team like that right, in Kerala right now. So we have started from the northern Kerala. So how our team we are fixing is like a neurovascular IR and a peripheral IR. We want them both to work there together, hand in hand, over there, right there, and then do the work. Yeah.
That's about the team. So then I also wanted always to know, like, see, in India, not everyone is very well versed of how to put our cases into papers, how to plan this, like for journals, how exactly a youngster who wants to start publishing, how should be his approach to the cases? What are the things that he needs to know about it?
I mean, I've given during the workshop a short talk how to find a good research topic and so on. I mean, that's the question is what the profile of the department of the hospital is, what the caseload of specific patients is, and I think it makes sense to make an analysis on that. And this is the one thing. So because this is more or less, let's say, the material you can get for your paper. The other thing, of course, and this is also very important. I mean, it depends on your personal interest. If you have many hepatobiliary procedures, but if you're not interested at all in these types of procedures, and if you hate percutaneous biliary drainage, doesn't make sense to write about it. So of course this is the personal interest, and then also the caseload you have, and then you can work along and go to literature and find out what has been written and what could be new, and also try to have new ideas. There's nothing wrong having new ideas. It's just from my personal experience, I thought I experienced the early TIPS cases, or the early TIPS years, let's say like that, and we did quite a few cases, and all the TIPS shunts occluded. So I said, well, I mean, nearly all. I'm doing something wrong, or all the big shots, you know, they reported about TIPS, how good it is, and we had TIPS occlusion one after another, and then I didn't even dare to talk about it loudly, because I thought it's my fault. But then it came out, yeah, well, this is the problem of the procedure with non-covered stent. If you have the connection to the biliary system, then it will close down. So I think just have the courage to also to tell some new things, some new ideas, and then try to bring it to paper. Another thing, of course, what can be, but this is becoming more and more common now, is to have some type of meta-analysis and review of the literature, etc., etc. However, I think this should still be made from a higher stage. I mean, it doesn't make sense if a youngster sits down and says, well, I'm going to write a meta-analysis on that topic, if you don't really know much about it. Sometimes I notice that sometimes I get papers like that, and I'm asking myself, have they ever done such a procedure they're writing about? So there should be some personal background from the experience. And then, I mean, what I always said, try to be in a team. I mean, it doesn't always need to be a really senior team, but try to be in a team. Teamwork is motivating, of course, but it's good if you have a mentor, yes, who would guide you. I had the privilege to have really well-known mentor, and he guided me, and he said you could look at that. So being in a team is easier, and then go ahead. I mean, so just try it.
About the mentor, I'm very happy that our community is small, but whenever I approach any international faculty or any seniors in India, if I have a trouble for troubleshooting, if I'll contact someone, they actually help me guide. Even that motivates a lot to do and go aggressively and treat the patient sometimes, because you'll be hesitant just to see the literature and then go and treat it. That's different than a mentor saying that yes, it works, and you go and do it. Definitely it helps.
I mean, and another thing is, don't get frustrated. I mean, just look at our journal. We have a rejection rate of 75%. So the chances to get the paper rejected are quite high. And this is frustrating. But first, everybody who is in this business, everybody who is writing makes this experience. So this is not a unique experience. But of course, you're sitting there for hours and hours, and then you get a rejected paper. This is frustrating. So, and it may be good to keep up the motivation if you just go to other journals, go to local journals. You have your national journal, and for instance, just thinking about it, I had a paper from this was a journal about filter retrieving concepts in a certain area, and this was a nice, well-written paper. But I mean, we had papers like that 5 years ago from other regions, and it's well known that if you have a specific service where you monitor all the patients who get an AVC filter, and that you mark when should the filter be retrieved, and so if you follow up this patient, the retrieval rate goes up. I mean, this is clear. It's been documented. So this is not a paper which is of interest for CVIR because we have this global readership, but it may be interesting for the region there.
Yes.
And specifically in that case, there was a national IR journal, and I told them, well, it's a well-written paper, but it's not interesting for us. But please send it to your journal, to your national journal, and get it published. And you get some motivation. I have a paper there, and from that you move on. So my first paper was in very small journal. So
yeah, the thing about I personally feel like, you know, the thing that hesitation that we have in publishing a paper is our fear of getting rejection. Every time we get a case, and then, like, you know, we want to write about it, but thinking about, okay, is this good enough? Is this valued enough? Or am I going to get rejected if I send it? So that is one question which pops up in our mind all the time, which is stopping us from doing any publications.
So that we have a troubleshoot for that. Start with small journals, even if the local journals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, this is a win-win situation. You're not frustrated, and you support your journal.
Yes.
So and I'm sure that the editor, it's Dr. Kalra. He's the editor in chief. Yeah. That he's happy to get many submissions. So, and but I mean, it depends on, but it's well, when for us, when I was still in diagnostics, it was always radiology was the holy grail. But I mean, to get a paper in radiology this is really a hard thing. So go for think about alternatives.
So what do you think is the future of IR, and on what direction? I mean, even the new papers that we need to work on.
You mean now the in terms of publishing, or in terms of our discipline?
Both discipline as well as the publishing. Both your perspective on that.
I mean, once again, let's keep that apart. I think that the discipline, it's now the future should be, and I hope that it will move into the direction that IR becomes more and more, and we have been talking about an independent discipline. To achieve that, we need to have awareness. As you know, we really need to promote our discipline, and awareness in two perspectives. The one is the awareness by the government, and the other is the awareness by the patients. So I think in both directions it makes sense, and I think this is your motivation to work to increase awareness of these disciplines for the reasons we all know. As soon as there is an own disciplines, then of course we have more independence, and also if in own discipline, the direct access to patients will be easier. In terms of publishing, I mean it's I'm sure that scientific publishing will be revolutionized in the next few years with all these large language modules and with all this AI support we have. This is incredible how fast the train is rolling. And I even read some papers where if you have a data on a certain file, it would be possible to feed in this in an algorithm, and the algorithm will write the paper on its own. So
yeah,
I mean this, and then if you would check that, it would be really difficult to realize that this is not human writing but computer writing. And this is I don't see it. I mean, we need to make the best out of it, and I don't see it too critical. Of course, there are points of criticism, of course, but we need to make the best out of it. Just think about, I don't know what, I think you in India are very active in daily radiology, what I heard. And you even get studies from Europe or US for reporting.
Yes.
So it became a business. In my place, daily radiology was something which was discussed very critically. And there are critical issues: who is responsible, and blah blah blah. But that's a development you cannot stop. So you have to use it. And in many places, it's an advantage. And even in my department, when we have been short of physicians, we had a daily radiological service just supporting us and getting all the caseload done. So, and this is so daily radiology was something which was there, but by far didn't have that dynamic which we see now with AI. And just if. What was the last Gemini which came out in January? It's incredible, this tool, what they can provide. So I think there will be strong influence on publishing, and we have to make the best out of it. One could say in a provocative way, the time of papers written in bad English should be over, because there's no reason. So you can have your language check, and you know I'm not a native speaker, so I think it should be over. So there should be no difference. But there will be also some support in data analysis and so on. But
so you're saying using artificial intelligence to write a paper and to improve your English, is that okay? It is.
Yeah, I definitely say yes, it is okay. We request from our publisher side, and this is also okay. If you use the support of AI, that you declare that, and there's nothing wrong about it. So,
but you advise them to declare it when you're.
Yeah, you should.
You should
declare. It's not. There has been the discussion in scientific literature whether an AI algorithm can be a co-author of a paper or not. But there was the decision against it, as far as I know. So, but it should be, you know, you have all in the cover letters. Where you also have the conformance statement, ethical comedy statement, and so on. And just a short notice: this manuscript was created by support of AI, and language check was performed by ChatGPT. That's fine, but as in diagnostics, when you use AI. you always have to check it. So don't take it for given that this, you have to check it, and you have to check also the meaning, because sometimes these language modules, they can change the meaning of a sentence, just placing words somewhere else. So this has to be checked, of course, and it's still in the responsibility of the author, of course. The whole paper.
I think just a grammar check is okay.
Yeah.
Structuring the language is fine, but not the whole journal.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And
but just one advice: there are really good templates and guidelines for writing the paper. You know this the Equator Consortium in the internet, and you get a whole list of guidelines how to structure paper, which is a randomized trial, how structure paper observational style. This would be Prisma, the strobe. Randomized would be Prisma, and so on. So this is meta-analysis. So you get all these guidelines, and if you sit down and start writing, then and you have the guideline there, then it's called guideline, and it's really a good guide for structuring the paper in the proper way. Very often I see that material and methods and results are mixed up, and so the structure is not clear, and this can be avoided easily.
Yeah.
So better structuring need to be done before sending it to the editor.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll have to resend the editor's comment and everything. That is another.
It's a more work for both.
It's a more work for both of them.
You're right.
Yes.
You're completely right. Yeah.
And you have actually made your name in the research and publication side. So, did you start from early in your career, like during your starting of your medical student life itself, or how did you?
Yes, this is and this depends on the environment you're working. I mean, if you're working in a non-academic institution, maybe you are not even. It's not required that you publish. But if you work at the university, there's the requirement that you publish. And this was from the early beginning on. But to be honest, it was. I wanted to be at the university because I wanted to do scientific work. And the one thing which was most, for me, it was most rewarding. It was not a great paper, but we did an animal study on tips, and this was really exciting. These were I don't remember. I think we had 12 pigs, and to place the tips in the pig, and then to see the survival rate of the pigs. What we did is at this time we didn't have the covered stents, so we did intraluminal radiation to prevent tips reocclusion. So, and this was really something really experimental, and I liked that very much.
Exciting.
Yeah, was good. But so, I mean, things have as far as I realize now, have changed a little bit. And it depends. When you're working at the university, you are obliged to do research, and you're obliged to show what you have done, and this and it depends whether your contract will be continued or not. At least in some institutions. So you're obliged to do that. And of course, it's better to start early, because if you're already very deep in the structure of a department with patient management and treatment and so on, it might be even difficult to find the time to do scientific work. I mean, the younger the better.
The younger the better. Very true. And and when it comes to patient awareness part, do you think the multidisciplinary team model, for example, working with, as you mentioned earlier, working with the neurosurgery department in ways of neurovascular intervention side?
How can we how can we make patients, educate patients? What would be the best way of?
I mean, I don't know how this works in your country, and it's so there. Of course, there are different ways. The one thing is, I don't know how often patients, potential patients, go to social media here in India.
So, for that question, so we do a lot of uterine artery embolization only from social media platforms.
And the gynecologists, they wouldn't send?
Not many, but I mean, most of them don't.
Yeah.
But then whenever we get, most of our patients are from social media.
Yeah, but this is the way to go, and we have we have exactly the same experience. In Austria, only few UFE embolizations are performed, because the gynecologists, I would say, reviews. So they do not send patients. So so it's social media. What I also do, I mean, this is very basic. I go to local platforms, and there are sometimes there are some. It's not a conference. It's just an evening event where people get information about health, about possible treatments, and this can be on coronary heart disease or on knee osteoarthritis or something like that. And I started talking about interventional radiology there, just telling the general population who might know what a catheter and a stent is, but if they hear catheter and stent, they always think about the coronaries and not about anything else. So just to tell the patients, look, that's there. Another topic is prostatic artery embolization. Our urologists, I mean, that's for them like something which is very bad, because they just don't send patients. They want to do the TURP procedure.
Now they do Eurolift.
Whatever, lift and with ultrasound and everything. But so they want to keep they're fearing that they're losing patients.
Yes.
And so, but I think it's important just to give the information to the patient. And I also tell my urologists, we do not want to take your patients. It should be a fair, informed consent for the patient, that they really know what are the possibilities, and then some are educated well enough to make their own choice. Yeah. So I think this might also make sense.
Yeah, that is what we are also trying to experiment out with our team. We are trying to go to the other specialty doctors and telling them, like, how we can have a symbiotic relationship where they're not going to lose the patient. That fear should not be there. It's like we can facilitate the treatment to the patient care, and they can do the follow-up, and all the treatment part can be done by them. We are experimenting that part. I don't know how successful it's going to be, but still,
I always say that interventional radiology is not an alternative for anything.
No,
but it is a help to other specialties.
Well, I see, but it's not just an add-on. It's something which has its fixed place, and not should, but must be recognized.
Yes, must be recognized. And also, if you work with interventional radiologists, the patient satisfaction also will be more for the team as such.
Right. And I mean, the more IR is established in your hospital, and the better it is, the more your referring physicians, they will, the more they will, let's say, they will love you. I mean, if the surgeon has a bleeding after Whipple's procedure, it's a nightmare for the surgeon to go in on day 3 or 4, find the bleeding. I mean, it's also a nightmare for the patient. Sure. But so this can be so elegantly done by just in transarterial embolization. There's no doubt that this is the way to go. And also, let's talk about trauma. I mean, if you get patients with severe bleeding after pelvic fracture, no way to go other than embolize those patients. I mean, what should the surgeon do? He will never find this bleeding source in these traumatized patients, and you can continue these topics in many fields. So therefore, it's a must-have, definitely.
But this prostate is a place where I don't know. The urologists always tell that it is still debatable that prostatic artery embolization should be done. Like a lot of papers, plus minus, we have. So, how is it in NHS? Like, do you get prostatic artery embolization?
Very few for reasons which are not justified. So we have now also, there was this recent publication from Thiago Pilhim. We have now the long-term follow-ups. We know that, and we know, of course, we know all the weaknesses. We know that there can be repeat procedures necessary, and that the degree in the prostatic symptom score will not be as strong as after TURP, for instance. But still we know that there is a definite benefit, and there's a definite increase of quality of life. I mean, the benign prostatic hyperplasia is a disease of the aging man, and we know all these many of these aging men are under dual platelet aggregation. So I mean, these are the ideal patients we should treat. And so ours, they don't realize. I'm not sure. I don't know how many whether there are now. I'm not aware of any good comparative studies with PE and Urolift, for instance. I don't know whether there are. I don't think there are some out. So of course there are other alternatives. For the Urolift, you have a foreign body in your body. I don't know whether this is so comfortable. And if you sit on it, if you feel it, I don't know. If you feel the clip, I don't know. But there's cryo, there's RF ablation as well. So I mean, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So what else do you want to add?
I'll just add that for young budding IRs, what is your guidance? How should
I mean, maybe for the whole structure, what we also experienced now within our society and the whole development of the field, it makes sense, and you mentioned that both, to increase the awareness of medical students first. So, and you may know that we have in CVIR we have a students awareness program. The youth is the future. So I'm an old man, and youngsters have to take it over. So young people need to come in. And there's, for instance, we have in CVIR we have this European Training Forum, which is all. This is the young generation there. I think that the establishment of the IR curriculum, which has been done by CVIR, and the establishment of the European Board of Interventional Radiology, ABIR, was a big step forward. And I had the pleasure to be with ABIR a couple of years, and I think this also even increases recognition, but also supports structured education. And this is, I mean, this is the main thing: education.
Yes.
You need that, and by that, then we will be. I think we are already very quite self-confident discipline, but it will be even better. But you have to train young people, and you have so many possibilities, I think, in your huge country to accomplish that. And I don't know how much, how big the support of the society is in that way, but this would be good if this comes also out from the society. But I think they are sure about that.
We are also trying our best to, how to educate the young medical students and put it in their medical curriculum. They should learn about IR while they are doing their.
Yeah, this is also, this has been a deficit in also in our
I think even in Europe, I don't think students know how advanced IR is.
It's not so many. So we try to get it into the curricula, yeah. But that's important.
I think we all are on the same path on this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. That was
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.